Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be back with another Young Indian as part of the Voice of the Young series. We have Aditi Tiwari with us. In an innovation, she has invited two of her teammates who are at the moment listening, but I guess at some point they'll show their faces and we'll proceed with the three of them. In the meantime, let's listen to Aditi. So over to you, Aditi.
First of all, thank you so much, sir, for giving me this opportunity and for having me here and to have a discussion with you. And for my brief intro, I have done my undergrad from in Bachelor of Arts with major disciplines History and Hindi from University of Delhi. And now I am pursuing my masters in Public Policy and Governance from Tata Institute of Social Sciences. And sir, as I had already mentioned to you earlier that since the day I have attended your lecture, the first lecture, I wanted to have a discussion with you on gig economy. And here I am and got this wonderful opportunity to have a discussion on the same with you. And so, sir, with your permission, can I begin with the questions?
Sure. But you have to first tell us
Okay.
a little bit more about yourself so that people know who it is that I am talking to.
Okay, so sir, the particular topic gig, I want to discuss about the topic here more than me. So the particular topic gig economy, I am very much interested in that, and that my team member also joined in, Namrita and Akshay. So we were working on a case study, so we want to get a more insight about this gig economy and how it is affecting India. And as I have done some case study, and I am more interested to know the ground realities of of India and economic how economically India is doing. So that's why I want to have a
Okay.
discussion with you. And this is
Okay, it's fine. But tell us what you have learned from your work, and then we'll build on that.
okay, so sir, as I have done my undergrad from Delhi University, so there I have worked on several in several societies and all, and from there I got the opportunity to work in different fields, which make me curious to know about to know more about several things, several topics, and from there I got the opportunity to be a more extrovert because I am a kind of person, I am a kind of introvert person that don't talk much. So that's why from there I got the opportunity, and from there I learned how to how to work in different field, how to go with different things, how to communicate with people. And from there I came to test Hyderabad, and I have a gap of 1 year because I was preparing for several competitive exams and couldn't get in there. So I think there was but the resilience for me to get to do work and to prepare for several things led me to Tata Institute of Social Sciences, and here I am here I am getting I'm getting to know about several things, several other kind of perspective. And the thing is that the way of teaching here, how can we apply our classroom learning to on the ground and field,
Mm.
that really inspired me most. Like that inspired me a lot to do some good work in social sector, in social areas.
Yeah. Okay, wonderful. That's a great background. So let's proceed with the way you want to proceed.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, thank you so much, sir, to going what I want to ask, and you have taken time to answer my queries. So, sir, like my first question is that in the digital capitalism, or in the new age of capitalism, gig economy is facing new challenges. For instance, the price or fee breakup that is provided for both the customers and driver at the end of the ride does not clearly mention the share taken by the company. And often the surplus generated is often seem to be robbed by the platform instead of reaching to the workforce. At the same time, all these platforms are very inevitable, and and the customer demands is also rising day by day. So what are your thoughts, and in what ways we can tackle this?
Okay, let me say a few things and then let's see where the discussion takes us.
Yeah, yes,
Oh,
sir.
first
Sure.
of all, I think even in the age of digital capitalism, hang on, okay, even in the age of today and innovation, uh, gig economy is probably going to be only a small part of the economy. Now, there is already the old informal sector, which we don't call the gig economy, but it was really the gig economy. That part
True.
still remains, but if you are thinking of the modern kind of jobs, then that is not the aspiration of the majority of the young people. Majority of the young people want a career path, and they want to have the benefits that can come only by employment in a large company or a large group, right? Whether it is the government or it is an NGO or it is the uh, any other entity, commercial profit making. You don't want to be searching every day. You don't want to be searching every week. And even the people in the informal sector, they are in some kind of a groove, some kind of a rut, some kind of an arrangement, whatever way you want to call it. It's not totally random. Okay. So if you are an auto driver, maybe you have a set route which you use. So some degree of certainty and some degree of regularity is what most people want. They're just a very, so, the drivers of the Uber, Lyft, Ola, whatever, they are also used to having some regularity. Now, of course, the companies, some of them, where the labor is like a commodity and there's no specialization as such. You're just a taxi driver, right? So taxi drivers were always a commodity. You're just a taxi driver. And people sit and you don't care who the taxi driver is so long as the taxi driver has a license, right? To drive that cab. Now, Uber or Ola, they certify that this driver is okay. So you go, you don't check anything. Okay? So it's on them to check the person. They check, but they don't want to have the risk of a permanent worker whom they have to pay. Rather, they leave the person to take the risk. Okay. So that's the part that people ultimately don't like, that they are the ones who are the risk takers and they are the low income people. Now, in the informal sector, they are the risk takers, but they are not really that risky, the job. Okay. It's only in pandemic that they were all shut out. Otherwise, they had fairly regular routines, right? So people actually want a regular routine. And the gig economy, therefore, just comes down to an arrangement in which the risk is partly with the worker and partly with the company. Now, obviously, as you grow older, you don't want that risk when you are a worker. So if you have no
True.
choice, then you will be an auto driver or, the taxi driver where the variability is yours. But if you have a preference, it is not to be the risk taker. You just want to do your job. You don't want to. So I think gig economy is something very new in the sense that it's not the old informal sector. The people are better paid than that. But it isn't something that can make, as far as I'm concerned, answer the needs of the majority of the people. They just want to do their work and come home with a fairly assured pay. Now, once in a while, your boss may fire you, but if they don't fire you, then you have a job. And you don't have a job, you have an assured income. Whether it is high or it is low, you have an assured income. So you can budget your life, you can live within the means or live outside the means, but that's your choice. Your people cannot stand too much variability and risk. There are a few who can, but that's a very small proportion of the total numbers. And as you get older, the ability and willingness to have that risk also declines. So this is my own opening comment.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. Indeed, I got my answer, what I was searching for. But just one more question in that question also. Is there anything like that the workers are exploited by uh, from both the sides? Like, for example, from the company side and from the customer sides also. Like sometimes customers negotiate that this much is too high, which was being given by the company. So are you like, do you think so that they are being exploited from the both side? Customer also exploits them.
Customer cannot exploit them. Customer, if they are fixed wage, if they're like the car people who are driving Uber or Ola or something, then the customer has to pay the fare. Right? Customer
Mm.
has to pay the going price. Now, in the old days with the auto also, they were regulated, though they didn't follow the regulations, right? And you were forced to negotiate. But the negotiation was within a fairly narrow range. And
True.
except if you were a tourist or an outsider. For regular people, if they knew that it's 50 rupees, you couldn't charge them 200 because they wouldn't pay, right? And you also won't offer them, they also won't say take 20 because they know nobody will take it. So the negotiation, it may be an unhappy equilibrium, but it is an equilibrium because the users are local, the suppliers are local. There's only, how much the market can tolerate. You can't just arbitrate. Now, in times of surge pricing and all, that's separate. But normal day-to-day behavior, again, people want certainty. They say, fine, I'll go to work, then so much I pay. Okay, plus minus a little bit. But you don't want this to become a variable that you have to deal with every time. We all want little bit of assurance as to what is going on, right? We don't want every minute to be full of variability. We are people who like to be in a groove. And over time, people become more and more in a groove. Okay, this is what I do, this is what I get paid, this is how I go to work, or this is how I don't go to work. By being remote, people crave certainty so that they can organize their lives. If everything is random, your life is going to be unnegotiable. You don't know what you are doing there. So I think that's the key point to keep in mind, that exploitation you can only do for a short period of time, because if it's exploitation of the worker, they will quit. They will quit. They do. People say, well, they're trapped. Yes, they're trapped. But unless you have got them financially trapped by offering them a loan to buy a car and then say repay from the savings of the money that you make, then they're trapped. But if you don't have that kind of a financial trap, people will quit. There is a limit to how much people will exploit. Now you may say, well, working conditions are unsafe, or 2 hours are too long, but they have alternatives. I think everybody has an alternative, and you choose the one that suits you. And if you go to some place and see how the people, they compare their own alternatives. If you go to Dhobi Ghat in Mumbai, you see that the working conditions are atrocious. Atrocious. And the money they are being paid is very low. But when you ask them, they say, I'm sending 30% of it home to my family. So how the hell can you send 30% of the very little they pay you? So, well, I couldn't even earn that much back in my village. So we are seeing a transition of people coming from villages to large cities to look for work, and from small towns. And there, it's a choice. You can go back home, but there's nothing back home. Same thing you see in Bangladesh. You see the women in the ready-made garment business. They're working in safe, unsafe, and dangerous conditions, right? But if you ask them, why are you still here? They say, well, I'm sending 25% of my money back home. And this is empowering me. Because as a woman, I had no way of making independent money back in the village. But here, I'm the financier of the family. So I have freedom. So you have to, people say, well, that's not fair. And yes, it is not fair. But the lack of fairness came when they were young. They didn't get equality of opportunity. They didn't have the equality of opportunity. The equality at this time is just a reflection of the lack of equality of opportunity. Trying to fix it now in very difficult ways, it's tough because then you are also cutting back on whatever it is that they can earn, given that you gave them a lousy education, given that you gave them poor health facilities, they still have to earn some money, The subsidies are not going to compensate, they're not enough. So that's my point. That
Okay,
it
sir.
is an unhappy equilibrium for many people. And we can call it exploitation if we want, but they don't leave the work.
So, sir, I was pointing out to the fact that the customer are also not having whatever the fee breakup or price breakup. It's not clearly defined to the either to the driver or to the uh, customer. So, how can that transparency be maintained, and how can that affect the sector?
Well, the customers actually don't care. Because when you go to
Yeah.
buy bread, you don't ask what percentage of the cost of the bread went to the workers, right? You don't ask. When you go to buy your vegetables, you don't ask the sabzi wala that, look, what percentage did the farm workers earn? Now, sometimes there are those issues which come up, right? And there was a very famous case in the United States of long back of the United Farm Workers who said, we won't pick grapes at these wages. Okay. And they got the consumers to boycott the grapes. I'm talking 1970, long ago. But mostly the consumers don't care. They just want the cheapest price. Honestly, that's what they want. Now, all this talk of I don't know how much it is going, well, they want the cheapest price. That's good service at low price. That's what consumers want, honestly. In economic theory, we don't even talk of the division of the earnings from workers or from the job, okay? Because we say, look, it's based on competition. So mostly the consumers, they may say that I don't know how much is going to the worker, but honestly, they don't care. They just want good service at a low price or at a price that they can afford. Okay. Now, the workers, they do want to get a fair share, but more importantly, they want to get what they can too. They're also looking to make as much as they can. Okay. Now, if the state is making a lot of money, well, what can I do? But I need enough for what I can do with my family and my circumstances. What can I do? Whether I'm supporting my family here or I'm supporting my family back home, as the Bangladesh women are. They don't care what price you sell it in New York, that ready-made garment. They just, on first thing they want to know is this better for me than being in the village? Is this better for me than any other thing I can do here? And Unfortunately, they're not skilled enough to have too many options. Now, of course, there is a sense of social justice and there is a sense of fairness and all that. And that should be there, but one shouldn't interfere too much in the labor market. One should be aware that people have choices. And you can tell the people, you can inform the workers. If they form a collective, that's fine. A union, that's fine. But trying to put, as I said, it's better to look at equality of opportunity when people are young, rather than, which we don't do. And we try to fix it later. And that later doesn't work that well. What we should be thinking about is, why did this person come here to be in this situation? That's what we should be thinking. And what mistake did we make that this person has no negotiating power? And the answer is pretty obvious. And yet we don't do anything about it. We all know, you read the ACER report, Pratham's report, and you know what they said this year? We have made progress. Okay, you look at it, and what's the progress? Among the rural students, 45% in class 5 can read class 2 material. That's up from 42%. So what that means is that half of the class, the students in class 5 can't read class 2 materials. Now, so this is not me, it's Pratham, this is Asa. Now, you're saying, well, what are these guys going to do? Where's the skill? So you are leaving them with low skills and perhaps low nutrition. And then you are expecting to interfere when they are adults in the labor market. Whereas what you should be focused on is when they're young, in their development. Okay. Now, let me take this opportunity to talk about one of my ideas, which is not mine, it's borrowed. And that is something called Early Childhood Development, ECD. And what it is about is that the age 0 to 3 is the most important age for the development of a child, which we didn't recognize earlier. We were just focused on school should be good. But actually, school is already too late. The equality of opportunity is at age 0 to 3. And if you read the New Economic Policy 2020, there are 3 paragraphs in it. Honestly, there are 0 to 3. And they say we are going to do great things at the age 0 to 3. Okay. Because we recognize that that's where the equality of opportunity really resides. Okay. I'm not using the exact words, but you can look it up. But then they have no means to do it. So what they're saying is that the ashas, the Anganwadi workers, they will do 0 to 3. And if you ask anybody who knows ashas, they laugh at this idea. Because ashas aren't even government employees. They're underpaid and overworked. They are underpaid and overworked. And now, how can they handle this additional task? They're not going to do it. They cannot do it. So we are left with the problem that what shows up as the exploitative gig economy, the root is actually at 0 to 3, not even in schools. And, Professor Heckman won the Nobel Prize for econometrics. He has a web page on this, pushing the idea. He says, if you want to convince people, here's my research in simple language. Because it is clear that, and we don't have any cultural programs at 0 to 3, which is reaching low-income people, the well-off families they manage. But we don't have. So I would say the root of the problem lies there. And if we are looking at India 2047, yes, we have to live with the gig economy because, the person in 0 to 3 will take another 14, 15 years to come of working age. So in that meantime, we still have to handle the labor issues and gig economy issues. But the sooner we start focusing, say not 0 to 3, but 0 to 5, and giving equality of opportunity there, then the problems of the gig economy will be much less because the people will be more qualified. Okay. Now, let me say my personal story. I've been in the gig economy since 1988. I quit a job. But I am a different guy, right? I didn't have the negatives at 0 to 3. I didn't have the negatives in schooling. So I could quit and say, hey, I'm going to be independent.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to be independent. I don't want a job. I want work, but I don't want to be independent. Okay. But that is a different gig economy, but you can see the contrast. I'm a gig economy. In fact, I refuse to take a job. If somebody
Nice.
offered me a job, I would say no. I can't work with you on a job because I won't do it your way. I'll do it my way. So that is because I didn't have the negatives at 0 to 3 or 0 to 5 or anywhere. And so I'm in the gig economy. I never had a salary. And my mother-in-law would often ask, when are you going to get a job? My daughter is suffering. I said, don't worry about it. If I took a job, she would suffer even more. But I'd be so unhappy and so miserable that she would be not happy with me. So what I'm saying is that there are people who want to be independent, and there are people who are forced to be independent.
True,
And
sir.
they are forced to be independent because they want to get ahead, but the conventional employment is not available easily to them because they don't have whether it's the skills of a blue-collar worker to work in a factory. There aren't that many factory jobs, well-paying factory jobs. So on the other hand, apart from 0 to 3, we don't create enough well-paying factory jobs because they're capital intensive. They take a lot of machinery to make one job.
Yeah.
And it takes enormous amounts of money. You read they're going to invest thousands of crores here. Fine, thousands of crores. But how many jobs? Oh, maybe 300 jobs. You say, what? But they're all automated.
Yes.
And
Machinery.
not just digital. They were automated even back then. You go to see the car factories that were set up in India, say 20 years ago, before all the digital came out. They were as mechanical as could be. Nobody's doing anything much with the hand. It's machine driven, To take that steel and shape it into the body of a car, you think people are doing it by hand? But that's the most who's going to make the tire by hand? Tire is being made. So all the parts are being made by machines. You're going to make steering wheels, you're going to make brakes, you're going to make seats. These are all the parts that go into a car. They are not made by manual labor. Workers may be moving something, tires from here to there, but they are not making it. So when you're not really involved directly, you are not going to hire many workers at those well-paid jobs. So where should the other people go? So either they go to the informal sector, which we don't call the gig economy, or if they are a little bit better educated, then they go into what we call as the gig economy.
Yes.
Okay, enough from me. Let's
Yeah.
get
So
next.
Yeah, it was like many points are very important to be noted here that I got to know from you, sir. So another question, when you talked about the alternative source of income when one person can leave the job. So what I observed that the fast delivery apps bids or offers people or workers to work for extra hours. For example, at the end of the day, apps offers workers that if they will complete such number of rides, they will get such incentives, and which forces them to work for some extra hours in in the hope that they will get some extra money or some extra incentives. So uh, what do you think these fast delivery apps these fast delivery apps are like a platform forcing the delivery person or man to ride with the in a rush or with over speed, and which causes casualty. And sir, I want to substantiate this with a fact that I have that I have read in an article of the Hindu. So it says that in the article of the Hindu, last year it was published that 8 delivery boys were killed and 28 sustained injuries in Cyberabad Police Commissionerate, that is in Hyderabad Commissionerate jurisdiction so far this year. Though not as high as in Cyberabad, situation on the roads of Rachakonda Commissionerate, 2 is equally alarming, with one delivery boy losing his life and 8 more suffering wounds this year. And while analyzing the reasons when the delivery boys' deaths and injuries in road accidents or incidents, Rachakonda Police Commissioner said that the distraction and losing concentration is the in the hurry to deliver the parcel could be one of the main factors. And in a meeting with with the representative of all parcel delivery agencies, commissioner cautioned them to alert the boys and adhere with the safety rules. So what do you think, um, how these are causing harmful how this is very harmful to the delivery agents or delivery riders?
Well, I agree that speed kills. Speed kills. Yeah, I'm saying it in 2 words. Speed kills. Okay. But
Yes, sir.
people want, the thing is, the customers are, they want it delivered in 15 minutes, 10 minutes. That should only be ambulance. There should be no, the companies should not at all uh, encourage speeding. There should be no rush. Please wait, you know.
Yeah.
Please wait. This mad rush that India is in, that everything is delivered in 10 minutes, 12 minutes, and then
10.
we boast about it. Well, that speed is killing young people. Okay. That there's absolutely no doubt in my mind. And uh, what they had in the US is that in the end, the kids who died, their families sued the company for tons of money. In India, we don't have such a system. But in the end, they all gave up that speed guarantee. They all gave up because it was clear, like the pizza, Domino's used to have a 30-minute guarantee. And if it took more than 30 minutes to deliver to your home, then I think they used to give 50% off or something. I don't remember. But they took it away because it was clear that speed leads to unsafe things. I think Indians should realize that, look, you are putting somebody else's life in danger for the sake of a
Yes, sir.
few minutes. For the sake of a few minutes. Okay, if you are that hungry, eat a banana at home before the food comes. Come on,
True, sir.
you know, just eat a banana, keep one at home, or some biscuits, you eat them. Okay, but if you keep supporting this fast delivery, you can have delivery at odd hours. That's different. But
Agree.
not speedy, not speedy. I think this whole business of speedy delivery is, the market is not working. Safety is not assured. Okay, so even in a market, we need safety regulations. And this is clear now. The facts that you've cited are very clear that we don't have that kind of safety. Okay, so this has to go. Speed has to go.
Correct.
Speed has to go. That's a separate issue from giving incentives to work longer hours. That's
Yes.
just a way for the company to expand without hunting for more workers. Because they also need, in the end, they do have some assurance of quality and so on to the customer and to themselves, reliability. So companies typically prefer to have overtime, even in car companies. If you are a manufacturer, you don't want to say, okay, the night shift is a different set of workers. Because then you have to train them, you have to teach them. It's difficult. Better you have the same workers do more of the work.
Yes.
And they pay them, it's like paying overtime, okay? And it's a choice, you don't have to have it. But the people want the money, they're poor people. Sometimes we don't think along this line, that
True.
they want money. We can say they want justice, they want fairness, they want a comfortable life, but they want the money. They're poor. Their families need the money. So if they work extra hours, so be it. What are they doing? They are probably single. There very few are women in doing this kind of work. They're single men, young
Yeah.
men, single young men. What are they going to do at night? Watch Netflix or watch some porno on their phone? Better you earn some money. What the heck? They need the money because they need to establish themselves in some way. They have to. There's really the opportunity cost of their time, I would say, is close to zero. What are they going to do with that spare time? Okay, we work only 8 hours a day. What great things are they planning to do with the rest of the time? They're not married mostly. They're single guys, out away from their families. What is it that they will do? So the moment they get a chance to make some money, they take it. Some of
Yes.
holding two jobs is not so common, but the thing is we have to recognize the need for income. And many people who call themselves activists and so on, they forget this. That people want more money at that level of income. And if it takes harder work, they'll do it. I mean, how many of those fellows who are pulling their tail as they work 5 days a week? They can't afford to. They work 6 days a week. Maybe some of them work 7 days a week. I mean, I've met, I don't live in India, but I've met Uber drivers. They say, sir, on Friday night and Saturday night, we work 14 hours because it's only at 2 and 3 in the morning that all the people are drunk and they call Uber. So our business is really, we start at 8 at night and we finish at 6 in the morning when all the drunks have gone home. We are only catering to drunks, okay? Because they don't want to. So they say, what the heck? Saturday, Sunday, Friday night, Saturday night, I make my money. I work. So the need for money should never be forgotten, I think. People want more money. And it's only when they reach a certain level that they look for other activities. But
Yes,
what
sir.
are these
Thank
guys
you.
going to do with their spare time? You answer me that question. Okay, they are home at 6. What are they supposed to do? Maybe they sit with their friends and drink or what? I mean, honestly, their parents need the money, their families need the money, they need the money. Let them make it. And the companies know this. Okay, we have you vanished from the screen. Okay, there you are. Good. Okay, so let me stop talking. So, anybody else has a question? Because we are kind of running out of time.
It was done. Yeah, sir. So that's answered all my question. No more question from my end. And I want to thank you that even in such a time constant, that the discussion was very insightful and very fruitful. And now I want to over to you, over to the my team members who wants to ask question. So question from their side, sir.
Okay,
Thank you.
fine. Wonderful.
So that's a very valuable insight, especially the foundational learning that you hit. Students must be taught at the right place. Only then we can devise the market according. That's really good, sir. Sir, my question is: you have said a statement that we shouldn't involve too much into the labor market. But India is such a country where 90% are informal, and now it's just increasing with the gig economy in place. So, what do you think? You said we shouldn't regulate much, but it is a need of the hour,
Well,
especially with the increased globalization.
we
Sorry,
can
yes.
regulate for safety. I have no issues with that.
Mm.
We shouldn't regulate too much for comfort. Let each person judge his or her own level of comfort. Safety, yes. We cannot have speed. Okay. We cannot have dangerous working conditions. That not, but in terms of compensation schemes, let the market work it out and prepare the people better so that they and inform them, give if they have some legal rights, tell them their legal rights. But we shouldn't really stop the market so much from working. Now, in the informal sector, we actually don't regulate at all. And this is the only way we are able to absorb all these people. Okay. It's an implicit recognition that we cannot create good paying jobs. So we let the informal sector alone. And it is like the sponge. It absorbs all the workers who don't get anything else. And we don't really know anything about them. Academics write some reports here and there. The government pays no attention because they know that the moment they start regulating it, then the ability to find even this work will go down.
Okay.
So
Okay.
they are
The kind of
basically implicitly recognizing that the economic model does not generate enough jobs. Everybody else is residual, is gone into the informal sector, fend for themselves. Shut your eyes to it. Because if you regulate that, then maybe 20% of those people will lose their jobs. Where will they go? Back to their village? So we are faced with this dilemma that as I said, the root is you don't create enough jobs in the villages and you don't create enough jobs in the small cities. So people migrate to the large cities. Now, you can't stop that because you are a democracy. Okay. In China, you couldn't migrate. Okay. But we can't stop it. So we stop it and we let them live in slums and work hard and not get well paid, because what else option do we have to offer to them? What other
wealth
options?
creation.
We have no options. So we keep talking, oh, we will get GDP growth from FDI and this and that, but we know they aren't going to create enough jobs. Okay.
So job creation is the only way out,
Job
especially small
creation,
town development.
skill development from a
Skill.
young age. Skill development from a young age is, from a long run perspective, is the first thing. Second, which I am trying to do in the interim, so let me just jump in. 3 years ago, I wrote a book, India 2047, and in it was a recommendation that we should develop our small towns. We have no policies to develop small towns, and that's people who leave their villages should be able to find a job within 200 kilometers of their village. Why do they have to go 1,000? Why 200 kilometers? Because that's a bus ride in India. It's a 4 or 5 hour bus ride in India. You're not far from your family. Your family can come and see you. If you go 1,000 kilometers away, nobody can see you. Nobody. So plus you can create labor intensive jobs. So then our group defined small town to mean 1 lakh population in 2011 census. And we selected not the top Indian states, but the middling states. We selected West Bengal, Rajasthan, and Odisha. So now it is defined that we are looking at 1 lakh population in 2011 census in these states. And our aim is to create jobs and increase incomes in the town and the surrounding rural areas. And since nobody has really thought about it much, we have taken the time to see what it takes to create jobs there. And one conclusion is that we should take each place as its own self and solve the issue there as it is there, not have a national plan, not have a statewide plan, but go to each place and see what are the constraints and what are the opportunities. Now that's very difficult to do, because how do you have so much expertise? Because the expertise required in Odisha is different from the expertise required in West Bengal, and it's different from the jobs, etc., in Rajasthan. So my solution to that is to create a network of supporters. So our nonprofit group, which we just established in December 2024, is called Ecotech Innovators. And we aim to create jobs through innovation and increase incomes through innovation. Not more of the same, but to actually bring the world's knowledge and new approaches to existing situations through a network of technical and generic supporters. So we will begin implementation in 2025. For example, we have new ways of growing fruit trees, which are cost effective and which can be done. Low investment cost. We will help self-help, women self-help groups do better. We will help the small and micro enterprises expand if they want to expand. So we have no way to say, look, this is the way you increase your income. We say, no, what is the situation here? So we are not yet in implementation, but the theory is done and we will have implementation. We have developed a 6-point work plan for a town in West Bengal. It's called Shuri. It's a Birbhum district. Nobody knows it. That's the point, to go to places where there is potential, but they are not yet booming. Make them boom. And be ready with experts who will say, okay, now you're starting to have a traffic problem. Good, I'm a traffic expert. I will stop it before it becomes a problem. You want energy efficient homes? I'm a green architect. I'll make sure right from the start that things are. So we are going to have what we do. It's still a little bit uncertain, but I'm saying this is the approach to create not gig economy jobs, but to create jobs which are old-fashioned jobs, but in smaller enterprises, and to tap the local skills. Because I think, if we don't have jobs for low-skilled people, what I call as no college, low college. They are no college or low college people. They go to a college, but they don't learn anything. So this is what we have. And now what job shall we give them in these small towns? We are going to do, we'll see how to do it. Okay.
So that's a wonderful narrative on small towns, sir. I would like to take this opportunity. I have worked in a think tank earlier, which our sir is also working on small town development. Sir, he's a retired bureaucrat, Jayaprakash Narayan Garu. So, sir had the similar small town development issue, and he wanted to take it to the national level. And sir is starting identifying small towns in India by mapping it. And sir is trying to pitch in Brandix company and other companies which are low-skill textile-based manufacturing units, which can provide bulk of employment, and all the plumbing and all the activities can be done then and there.
Okay, so please connect me to him. And I also should say that I want young people as my supporters, because we are going to be there the next 25 years in these towns. We are not in a 3-year plan, 5-year plan. We are like, we hope to be like Amul, created 75 years ago. We hope to be there in 2100.
Great.
And
That's
to have
a
that
sustainable
happen,
plan.
no, there's no option. So, I'm running out of time now. I have only 2-3 minutes, but I invite all of you who are listening to follow me on LinkedIn, and then we will have the company. It's called Ecotech Innovators. It's a non-profit company, Section 8. It's an NGO, Ecotech Innovators. We will announce it, and I'd love to have all of you who are interested in it to be part of the support group. I want to have 1,000 people in my support group. Okay, so that I can draw on anybody at any time. That look, here is a problem. Do you have an answer? And I want this to be an Indian network. By Indian, I mean, you may say, look, I don't know the answer, but my friend's Mamaji knows the answer. Right? That's the Indian network, okay?
Exactly.
I don't know it, but one of the students I studied with was from Odisha. Maybe her family knows somebody, and then that somebody connects me to somebody. That's Indian network. I want an Indian network, not a formal Western network also.
In
So
the 1,000 should comprise
people are able to say, I mean, okay, so we are really out of time here. So let's end this recording, but I tell all of you that please look out for Ecotech Innovators. We need your help for the next 25 years. Not tomorrow, not day after. Whether you are employed or unemployed or doing whatever, you can still pitch in as and when you need it. And we don't want to create gig jobs. We want to create either self-employment or old-fashioned jobs that people can rely on. And in the small towns, I've defined the small towns, 1 lakh population in 2011 census in these 3 states, and we may go to other states also. Okay, I'm really out of time. I have only 1 minute before the next person comes. So thank you all. It was really pleasant to talk to you. Keep in touch and bye for now.
Definitely. So thanks a lot for wonderful insights from our team, sir. Team Aditi, Akshay, and
okay, fine. All right,
We'll
let's
be
end
connecting
it.
with you soon again.
Yeah, okay, let's end it here. Okay, bye.
Thank you, sir.